The square in Ouagadougou was silent, unusually silent for a place that had seen marches, cheers, and resistance songs for years. But this time, no one shouted. No one raised fists. They only listened. Because at the center of the square, beneath the red-gold flag of Burkina Faso, stood a man whose voice had come to mean more than politics, more than presidency, more than revolution. It was Ibrahim Traoré. His eyes, always intense but never theatrical, scanned the sea of faces before him. Mothers holding babies, elders wrapped in cloth bearing ancestral symbols, children with dust on their cheeks and dreams in their eyes. They were not here for promises. They were here for something deeper, for truth. For the last line of defense between a continent awakening and the forces trying to silence it. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't speak in rage. He spoke as though he was speaking from somewhere beneath the earth, where memory, pain, and pride live together. They tried to teach us that Africa could not lead itself, he said, that our people needed babysitters, that our lands needed foreign signatures before they could bloom. But today, I say this. We have signed our names in the soil with sweat, with struggle, and yes, with sacrifice. The crowd stirred. Some lowered their heads. Others began to cry. Traoré continued. I am not your king. I am not a saint. I am a soldier, and if tomorrow they take my voice, my name, or even my breath, then let my spirit rise in every African child who refuses to bow. A woman near the front fell to her knees, her hands pressed to the ground. A group of students from Senegal clasped each other, tears running down their cheeks. Elders from Mali, Chad, Congo, and South Sudan, each wearing the woven garments of their heritage, raised their hands toward him, not in applause, but in blessing. Then came the line that no one expected. I do not ask you to protect me, he said, pausing, but if this journey ends with me, I ask you to promise one thing, that my fall will never be your silence. The crowd broke, tears turned into cries. One voice shouted, You will not fall, Captain. Another followed, We will trade our lives before we lose you. From village radios to smartphone live streams, across dusty schools in Somalia, fishing towns in Ghana, copper mines in Zambia, and refugee camps in Sudan, his words echoed. Not just as a speech, but as a calling. Young artists turned his sentence into murals. Mothers whispered it over cradles. Soldiers in the Sahel repeated it like prayer. That night, Africa did not sleep. It remembered. And Ibrahim Traoré, alone in his study, wrote only one sentence in his journal. If they love this land enough to cry for it, then I will stand for it, even if I must stand alone. In the aftermath of the candlelit vigil that swept across Africa, a different kind of gathering was taking place in Washington, behind soundproof doors and sealed corridors. The Situation Room buzzed with agitation, not awe. Traoré's speech had not only gone viral, it had gone spiritual. Worse, it was sparking what CIA reports called a subconscious militarization of identity across the youth in the Sahel. They weren't just watching a man anymore, they were preparing to defend an idea. His voice reached places we can't touch, one intelligence officer whispered grimly. Even sanctions can't stop belief. A decision was made. Quiet, final. No official orders, no signatures. Just a list of names, a file transfer, and a nod across the table. The operation would be clean, outsourced, and disavowable. The objective: destabilize Traoré's command structure before he becomes untouchable. Within 48 hours, 3 assets were activated. 1 in Togo. 1 inside Ekawa's leadership. 1 embedded deep within a West African telecom network, a digital saboteur. The plan: interrupt communication lines, launch a smear campaign against Traoré using falsified documents implicating him in arms trafficking, and most chillingly, coordinate a timed attack using local proxies to strike the presidential convoy. It would look like an internal rebellion. The world would believe it, but someone was listening. Halfway across the world in Moscow, a line lit up on a secure channel. Russia's External Threat Directorate had intercepted fragments of a signal encrypted but familiar. It had the rhythm of Western sabotage. And the target? Cobra 1, the codename they'd given to Ibrahim Traoré. Putin was briefed within the hour. His reaction? Calm. Only 2 words. Send Cobalt. Cobalt wasn't a person. It was a classified protocol, an elite joint rapid response pact signed months earlier between Russia, North Korea, and 3 African states including Burkina Faso. A fusion of cyber intelligence, satellite surveillance, and Black Ops security shielding, it was designed for one purpose only: protect the symbol at all costs. And that's when the North Koreans moved. A week earlier, they had quietly installed a second perimeter defense around Traoré's residence camouflaged as electrical upgrades. Now, it activated. Underground EM scramblers neutralized external tracking devices. Mobile anti-drone units were deployed within a 3-kilometer radius. Every vehicle approaching the palace was scanned for nanotech signal relays. But it didn't stop there. A Russian stealth drone, already patrolling above West Africa for months, was suddenly reassigned to shadow Traoré's motorcade routes in real time, sending live thermal feedback to a sealed bunker outside Ouagadougou. From Pyongyang, an elite team of psychological counter-intel specialists began feeding false signals to the Western networks, creating the illusion that the convoy would be taking Route D9 while the real convoy took a subterranean tunnel built during French colonial times, forgotten by history, but repurposed by revolution. The attack never came. It collapsed before it began. The field agent in Togo disappeared. The smear documents were exposed as fabrications by Russian cyber units and leaked to African media, reversing the narrative entirely. Instead of scandal, Traoré emerged as a victim of attempted Western orchestration. But something else had changed. At sunrise the next day, a mysterious broadcast aired for exactly 47 seconds on an unused radio frequency across West Africa. No station claimed it. No signal trace was found. It simply said in Traoré's voice, "They will come in silence, with masks of help and hands of poison. But we are awake now, and those who walk with Africa will never walk alone again."